All right, joining us here on the Full Court Press is the head coach of the Utah State football Aggies as he gets year two in stint number 2 underway. Gary Anderson joining us. Coach, good morning.
Good morning. How you doing, big timer?
We're good. We're good. How are you? I don't know if I'm a big timer. I'm no head coach of a Division I football program.
Hey, no, anybody that knows.
Hey, Coach, how did day one of spring football go for you?
It was good. It was a good start. I thought it was, very well structured by the staff, and the kids were prepared, and so you're always looking for that organization and the crispness, and the excitement's always there on game one. But it was a very business-like attitude out of the kids, which you're looking for, especially walking into year two and what we've done in the off season to prepare them for those moments. So it was a good start, lots to work on. Excited to get in the meeting room today and then jump out there on the field for practice number 2.
Coach, I know the big discussion around the Valley is who the next quarterback will be. You've seen only one day of competition, but from what you talked about yesterday, Henry Colomby really came out and showed out to himself. I know it didn't surprise you, but did it surprise any of the other coaches or even maybe his quarterback competition?
No, I don't think it was a big surprise. Henry is obviously he's taken the most reps. He got the second team reps last year, which those are quality reps that he is able to get into practice. But yeah, I thought he was crisp. I thought he had good command, and the challenge is for Henry is to walk in from the situation that he's been here, as a backup quarterback, knowing and understanding he's going to be a backup quarterback, accepting that role very well, and now all of a sudden, he's right there as the starter as we walk into it, taking the reps with the ones. And it's definitely a competition. One day does not validate a starting quarterback, but Pease is coming off that knee, and Andrew will come in and battle, and he'll be much better today than he was in day one, just from a sheer being comfortable and getting back out there. And it'll be interesting. And Cooper is going to continually battle as he goes through there, and Josh will do the same thing. So, but I thought Henry was impressive day one. I thought he was had a good understanding, had a good feel of things, had some nice command to him, and we'll look forward to that continued competitiveness in that position as a whole.
Coach, as you make this decision, what are you looking for in your starting quarterback?
Well, we all know what we're trying to move forward with the offense, and our side of this league, you're going to have some very physical football teams that pride themselves on being physical, being powerful, being able to play football in all conditions, and that's a very important part, especially on our side, for where we're going to play late in the year. This year, we have 4 games late in November, so there's going to be times when the guy has to win the game for us, and there's going to be times when he has to be a game manager, and I'm looking for a guy that, at the end of the day, when it's on the line, whether that means you're in a 4-minute drill and you're going to run the ball out, whether you got a 50 seconds left and you got to go 80 yards and score a touchdown to win the game, you got to have a guy back there that the kids will look at and believe in and want to rally around and believe that their quarterback can get it done. And that's easily stated, and it's easy for me to sit here and say that today, but that's a big, big part of things is the belief. And then have the ability from his personal ability, from throwing the ball to checking the run game to getting us into positions where we need to be, play with poise, day in and day out, and consistently doing it, and then the will to want to study in the off season. It's a big challenge. In the off season now is into spring football, but it's still the off season. A big challenge for not just the quarterbacks, but this team is. This, in my opinion, is a tremendous coaching staff. There's great knowledge. There's great youth. There's guys that have done this for many, many, many years. So it's a good mix on this staff. The players on the team, the coaches, myself, we can't keep coaching like we did day one of spring ball. Day one of spring ball is elementary teaching. That's very normal. That's fine. It's elementary school day, and we go through it, and we talk to them about base offense, base defense, base special teams. 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 days from now, we have got to graduate ourselves and allow this staff to coach at the high level they can coach at. And a lot of that is on the responsibility of the players, whether that's the quarterbacks, the offensive line, DBs, whatever it may be. And I'm excited to watch that in our meetings today and see how our kids prepared themselves in the off season to handle information that coaches give them. Meetings are just as important as practice, and if we're going to take steps to be where we need to be as a program, and that's consistency year in and year out, our kids need to learn how to study and take coaching from great coaches.
Defensively, there are some holes. Who do you look to step up? You lose Woodward, of course, DJ Williams, Tipanaya, the list goes on. Who are some of the guys you're looking for to step up and be a leadership on the defensive side of the ball?
Well, the leadership thing is earned, and we have not even this year, we haven't even deemed ourselves to or broken ourselves out into a leadership committee. I don't believe it's time for that yet, and I want to see that continually grow, so we'll see who those leaders are going to be. again, that's an earned situation. It's not just something that you walk into and because you're a really nice guy or you're a popular guy, you're a leader. That's not being a leader. And so I'm going to let this continue flow through. We'll get a leadership committee voted through sometime here through spring, and then we'll also do the same thing with the captains. But now is not the time. So leadership it doesn't have to be an old guy. It can be a young guy. So that's another big step for this team is to get themselves in a position to find that leadership. And I always say leadership is extremely important. Right now the leadership is coming from what I think is a tremendous staff and a group of seniors that have high expectations for them on offense and defensive side of the ball. But I want those leaders to get it done out there on the practice field and see how we continually grow in the next few days, and then we'll talk more about leaders at that point.
Coach, at the recruiting period signing or National Signing Day, you talked about the importance of recruiting out of the state of Utah, and I wish I would have asked you this question then, and I lost sleep over it that I didn't. But can you talk about the importance of recruiting out of the state of Utah?
Well, the state of Utah is always our standard. It's our starting point in recruiting, and that's not lip service, and that's where we start. And we put 4 coaches in the state of Utah for a reason. And when I say put 4 coaches in the state of Utah, that's they have schools broken up. Normally, if it was a state the size of Utah and the number of high schools that we have here, and it was out of state, we would have 1 coach in it, and we would not sit there and say we have 2, 3, or 4 coaches. So right out of the gate, that's the importance of it. Every one of our coaches are involved in calling high schools, touching every high school that's in the state that plays football, and making sure they know that we're there. Many of those schools don't have Division I football players for years and years and years, and sometimes decades go by where they don't have a Division I player, but that doesn't mean we don't want to reach out and make sure that we are doing all we can to help them, number one, if we can help them, and number two, let them know that we're very interested in their program. And so that's a big part of it. The other thing is this is our walk-on program has been very powerful in the past here, and it needs to be better. It needs to continually grow. We need to have more walk-ons here in this program that earn scholarships. And since we've been here, we've been able to do that to 3 or 4 kids now, and it needs to continue to grow. And we have some great young walk-ons that we got here last year. I think will really help us as we move forward. And you look back those teams in the past, and it's always been a tradition here to have walk-ons that are quality. And then the last part of it is the scholarship kids. Utah has become highly, highly recruited. And quite frankly, last year there was a number of Power 5 kids that weren't a great fit for us as far as what we are at Utah State, who we are, what we're about, that ended up going to different Power 5 schools throughout the country, not even in the state of Utah. And then there was other ones, obviously, that we didn't get, and there's a couple that we did get. So we're going to recruit it like crazy. It's much harder now for kids to understand the recruiting cycle and how things go. And, so many times in the state of Utah, it's easy to get enamored with being recruited as a national recruit, but then when all the smoke clears out and the water's clear and it's a nice clear blue sky, you can look and say, hey, there's pretty good football played in the state of Utah, and we're going to be in those fights as heavy as we can be, and we want Utah kids in the program. And then the kids that we get that aren't in our program from out of state, wherever they need to be, they need to fit our culture, which is that culture. It's the state of Utah culture. It's built on toughness, it's built on consistency, care factor, belief in Cache Valley, and be prideful within your university and your community. And that's never going to change. And we're not perfect. We never will be, but we sure are going to strive to represent this great university and Cache Valley well with the young men that we allow to come and play football here.
Hey, I hope it's okay if I ask you this question. But the Beyond Football program that I've seen on social media coming out, I know you're big into InstaFace and Snapgram, and you're huge into TikTok. I get it, but
some people around here are. So TikTok can be amusing, though. I have to say that. So.
Coach, I want to ask, what were your goals and what was the thought process into bringing that into the program and the goals you're trying to achieve with it?
Well, I could talk to you about Beyond Football for about 3 hours and would love to, but I'll just give you the basis of it. It's something that when we have gone through the years, it's something Stacy and I have become very, very passionate in, and it's the belief is that just to get kids a degree in today's day and age in college athletics as a whole, speaking of football right now specifically, it's a cop-out if we're just saying, hey, we're going to get you the degree. Our kids will graduate. Our kids will have great mentors, great tutors, great academic help. Our coaches will be highly involved with them academically, and they will get a quality degree, and they're prepared to move on in life. But it doesn't stop there. Beyond Football starts from their freshmen, and it does not end until it's over with. And when I say over with, football's over with, they have a job where they wake up in the morning with a big smile on their face. They're earning the money that they made, that they need to make to take care of whatever they've created, whether that's themselves, whether that's family, whether that's a wife, whether that's a wife and children, whatever it may be. They're prepared to take care of that situation that they've created with a big smile on their face. When they do that, then I believe as coaches we can salute them and say congratulations, give them a big hug, and we did what we told you we were going to do for you when you came here to Utah State. And it's a passionate program. We need the community to help us. We just did a mock interview thing the other day here, and it was fantastic. The attendance from the community to come up there and be involved with our kids and volunteer an hour and a half of time, it's invaluable. And it was to sit there and watch our kids. It was like game day from a nervous situation for a bunch of our kids. And you're talking about juniors and seniors in college, And unfortunately, today's day and age, our kids spend 95% of their time pushing their phone, and they communicate to their phone sometimes when they're 3 feet away from each other, which is embarrassing, right? I mean, that's not the way it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
Now all of a sudden they've got to sit into somebody that's, in the professional world, look them eye to eye and have communication and talk and handle themselves in a professional manner. And we prepared them for that situation, but there was nerves. It was like a game day nerves for a few of those kids when they walked out there. And so thank you for the community that's helping with the Beyond Football program. It does help our young men grow and build, and it will continually do that. And it's a powerful tool for these kids. And a year in, they're starting to understand that I need to get this done. It's just not about getting a degree. It's much more than that in our program as far as the football side of things.
Utah State head football coach Gary Anderson joining us here on the Full Court Press. Coach, year 2 coming up for you. I remember after the bowl game last year, you said we as coaches need to also look at ourselves, adjustments and changes to be better coaches coming into next year. What for you specifically as a head coach do you want to see yourself improve upon?
Well, I think the biggest thing for me is to make sure that I dissect the program, and I start by dissecting myself at the end of any year. And when I think about the core of what you have to do, year one, you're able to really build great relationships, and it's important that I continually build those relationships, and those kids know that they can walk into my office in good and bad and indifferent times, and when we have our individual meetings now, they're real. It's not just sitting down and talking about football, it's talking about life. And so, year 2, you want the kids to really make sure that care factor is much deeper outside of winning football games than it is winning football games. And I understand I'm judged by that at the end of the day, but I don't judge myself by that. I judge myself by making sure I surround them with great coaches. First of all, people that care about you as a coach, as a position coach, and secondly, a great coach. And then it's very important for me to continually let our kids in our program understand what it means to be an Aggie, the unbelievable opportunity that you have right now. And when kids take advantage of that opportunity, it's very important to show them year 2 that this is what you get when you do it right. And on the flip side of that, when kids do something wrong, this is what happens when you put a bad mark on us. There is definitely going to be a price to pay, and also that I'll be there for them. I'm going to be there for them. Sometimes I'm going to take care of my players, and I'm going to make sure that they know that if I think it's right or if it's wrong, I'm going to let them know, and I'm going to be there with them, and I'm going to fight for them. So I always think that's a big part of the second year as you go through. But the biggest thing for you look down, and I wanted to surround them with a more mature staff. I thought that was really important for us. We had the opportunity. Part of being at Utah State is being prepared for change as a head football coach, because it's going to happen when you have good coaches. There's going to have coaches that have opportunities to move along. This year, of all of our young coaches, not our full-time coaches, but we lost every one of our young coaches except for one, and there's 7 of those guys. In our weight room, we have 5 guys that work with our football program. We lost 2 of them. To very good programs, right? So, yeah, it's important for me to always remember when I'm at Utah State, and this is where I'm going to be, and this is the last stop for me as far as we go through the coaching world and the coaching carousel, is to make sure I am prepared to put quality coaches in front of these young men and quality people that want to take care of them. And that's a big push for me in the second year and the third year as we continue to go through time.
Coach, look forward to seeing you out throughout the spring, getting ready for fall football season coming up. Appreciate you.
Okay, guys. Appreciate it. Have a great day. Go Aggies.
Thanks, Coach.